around us as much. And then she found out last November, after they've been dating for months, some girl DM'd her and was like, you deserve better.
Why the Call Her Daddy podcast got offered $20 million a year. Welcome back to our channel, Dramatic. Hey guys, in this video we are going to talk about a podcast that got offered $20 million a year, which is crazy a lot. Before we start, I would like you to hit that red subscribe button so that you never miss out any of our videos. Alexandra Cooper is one hell of a lucky girl. The 26-year-old grew up in Pennsylvania with a psychologist mother and a sports TV producer father who encouraged her to voice her feelings, and in the process, she spent much of her childhood with a camera in her hand. Little did she know that this passion of hers would bring her both riches and fame in the time to come. She recently bagged an exclusive $60 million 3-year deal with the world's largest music streaming service provider, Spotify, which has over 365 million monthly active users, including 165 million paying subscribers as of June 2021. Since 2019, Spotify, the music streaming giant, has been investing aggressively in podcasting. The deal that Spotify signed with Gimlet Media and Bill Simmons, The Ringer, now carries more than 2.6 million podcasts on its service, up from 450,000 in 2019. With this speed, Spotify's podcast listenership in the US is on track to overtake Apple Podcasts this year, according to a forecast from research firm eMarketer. Spotify had been eyeing the Call Her Daddy podcast since the time it became the 5th most popular podcast globally on Spotify last year, and in the top 15 across services as per Edison Research. Last spring, Spotify backed the Joe Rogan Experience exclusively for $100 million, and before that struck a deal with Kim Kardashian West for a criminal justice podcast exclusive to its service. Call Her Daddy podcast started in 2018 and found a great following with a young female audience with its unfiltered discussion of sex and relationships. It actually started as a 2-woman show. Cooper and her then roommate Sophia Franklin. Both the girls would share racy and erotic stories and give judgment-free counsel to both men and women on the basis of their own personal experiences. For instance, on one hand, where they would advise someone on how to catch a cheater, on another, they would advise a cheater on how to get away with an affair. The risque content of the podcast boosted up its downloads from 12,000 to 2 million in just the first 2 months. The podcast was formerly owned and distributed by Barstool Sports until June 2021, when it was announced that Cooper had signed an exclusive deal with Spotify worth $60 million. In 2020, Cooper and Franklin were engaged in a publicized dispute with Barstool founder David Portnoy, which resulted in Franklin leaving. Their friendship and business partnership went up in flames during a contract renegotiation with Barstool Sports. Both women believed they weren't being paid enough as they were women. There were other issues as well as on the set, like they were unhappy with how their makeup was done, how their photographs were clicked, but not many details are known about these. This dispute went out of hand to such an extent that David Portnoy had to do a podcast for 30 minutes describing the financial and contractual details of the podcast. He explained that Barstool had offered a base salary of $500,000 to the co-hosts in a rooftop deal, and noted that Barstool was losing $100,000 per episode. While Cooper had settled on new terms, Franklin remained unwilling to accept the new terms. The negotiations deteriorated, which ultimately led to her exit from the podcast. As Cooper reached an amicable agreement with Barstool, she continued hosting the show on her own till the time Spotify didn't step in and take the exclusive rights of the podcast. So, talking about her own exclusive podcast now, she roots for female empowerment and maintains that it has always been an undercurrent of the show, despite the fact that it was the erotic nature of the stories and content discussed is what drew people in. Off late, in her recent episodes, she has also given women pointers about regular dating and relationships, like how to ensure you arrive fresh-faced to meet a guy after a hectic plane ride, what to post on social media to make your guy jealous. These pointers are given with the sole target to enhance women's confidence and answer their burning questions, but these answers or discussions sometimes suggest that to feel confident and good about yourself, you need to have a guy's approval or his attention, and that is the ultimate end. Her podcast's popularity also goes to prove one point: sex sell. And she is capitalizing on this fact. This deal means a lot to her fan base known as the Daddy Gang, as it means that they will be getting more episodes of their favorite podcast. Cooper says there will be 48 main episodes of Call Her Daddy a year, plus 26 bi-monthly mini episodes. Though Spotify says exact numbers are still in development, she is also aiming for in-person live events too as the show proceeds. She is very hopeful, going by the popularity of the podcast, that she will be able to expand her brand and evolve even further. She says, "I want to be the biggest podcaster in the world. I've got this great big deal now. I want to prove to the world that I am worth this." That's all for today. I hope you liked the video. If you did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so that you never miss any amazing video from us.